the boys that we had here. So Tony, Jethro, Johnny, George playing his first game today. So we'll be looking for a big one from him.
Mangere East, obviously, our live stream game last week. Not sure if you've got to caught the video, but they outlasted Marist and struck late. What are you expecting from them today?
Big forward pack. Be a physical game. We'll have to be up to it. Quick outside backs as well was what I saw. They start to throw it around quite early on the tackle count. So, yeah, I did catch that live stream game, and yeah, congratulations to Mangere.
A little bit of rain earlier today, but it's dried up now. What's the key sort of thing that gets the job done today?
Ball security. It's going to have to be an 80-minute game from us. Hopefully we can start well. We've had two slow starts to start the season, but yeah, hopefully we can put on an 80-minute performance today.
Cool. As you mentioned in the intro, the Howick Hornets aiming for 3 from 3. Perfect start, of course, beaten in the major semi-final last year. So, Sean, we wish you all the best, and we'll talk to you after the game.
Thanks, and just to take a shout out to my wife who gave birth on Tuesday. So just to my wife Serena and our little baby Johnson. Hope you're well at home, and also my family in the GC. Thank you.
And for those of you wondering, of course, Sean's wife being Serena Clark, the Kiwi Ferns legend, so a big shout out to Serena today. So we're going to throw back quickly to the reserve grade game and then welcome in Matt Pilmer from the Mangere East Hawks. We now welcome in Matt Pilmer for the second week in a row into the ARL studios. Well, Matt, a gritty win last week. You didn't lead, I think, until about the 75th minute, but I took the lead when it mattered. What were the main sort of takeaways from last week, mate?
Yeah, well, I think we used one of our get-out-of-jail-free cards last week, to be honest. You know, we started slow in both halves and sort of came home strong on the last 20. Look, we stayed in the game, which was the main thing. You know, we went down very early with a couple of tries. We could have put our heads down, and Marist could have run over the top of us. But I think I talked about it with the Northcote. We dug deep in that second half, and we never gave up. You know, and we fought right to the bitter end. And I was pleased with our fitness at the end. Bit scrappy, in all honesty, in the game. I wasn't too happy, but to get the 2 points was great for the team. Sometimes
an ugly win is better than any other sort of win, and obviously it's got to have done a lot for morale. You've got a pretty young team there, so what's confidence been like in the camp this week?
Oh, it's been good. Tuesday and Thursday, the boys have been really confident. Yeah, we just needed that one win. A couple of disruptions this week with a couple of late pull-outs in our team, unfortunately, but the team's pretty confident in the changing room today. They're looking forward to this game. They traditionally always have a great game against Howick, so looking forward to it.
Completion rates and particularly errors coming out of your own end, still a bit of an issue last week. Have you worked hard to address that this week?
We have. It was terrible, and I think that came under both teams in the end, and you know, sort of whoever had the best field position was going to take the win. So yeah, we've really worked on that, and yeah, the penalties as well was another thing that really cost us, and we just can't go give that against a team like Howick today.
You lose Vili Tukia, who was super impressive last week in the front row, and also a few changes to your bench.
Yes, unfortunately Vili had to pull out with a family crisis yesterday, but you know, that gives a couple of guys, we'll try not to change our team too much from last week, but obviously a couple of players are coming, but it's their chance now to step up and try and take that, especially in our props. We're a little bit short at the moment, but gives them an opportunity to go out there and impress me, so looking forward to see how they go out there.
And in particular, your captain Howard Brown really took the game by the scruff of the neck, I thought, when it mattered last week. How impressed are you with how he's playing so far?
Oh, he's a class act, Howard, and he's been around. He's probably played the most games in Fox for us at the moment, and he's still only 23 years old. So, no, I was very impressed with the way he took control, and his kicking game got a lot better in that second half, and I think pushing Marist into those corners with those kicks and using our defence as our offence really paid the way in the end, and we got a bit of extra ball there and won the game in those last minutes. So, no, he's a real leader out there in the field as well, good captain. Normally quite a quiet, reserved kind of player, but he's really taken on that captain role this year, and he's you know, he's a lot more talkative out there in the middle and in the huddles, and so it's good to see.
Very different looking Howick Hornets team to that which beat you twice in the regular season last year, but they've come up with a couple of gritty wins. Obviously just edged Richmond in round one, yeah, and then came from behind against Otahu. What are you expecting from the Hawks? From the Hornets, sorry.
Yeah, they've still got some old campaigners out there, and they're always tough around the ruck. You know, you've got Tony Tuia and Jethro. They play a very quick game and very fast play of the balls, and if we're not in our game and really control that tackle and put them on their backs, it could be a long day for us. You know, But they've got some young enthusiastic players out there. I think I was just talking to Sean. They've got some rugby boys out there who are young and enthusiastic, and so same things for us as well. They're quite a big forward pack, so we'll be trying to run them around at the same time and tire out Tony Tuia's mouth, if we're hopefully.
And I guess, just finally, what's the key thing you want to see this week? We mentioned the completion rates. Is that the main concern for you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We've shown that we can score tries. Yeah. We've got the youth and talent out there to score tries. But it's just those penalties and ball control. It's just cost us in the last 2 weeks. We were lucky to come away with that win. But if we can control that ball and get some good field position, we show that we can be a dangerous team. So that's what I'm hoping to get, was that an 80-minute performance today.
Thanks for joining us, Matt, and all the best today.
No problem. Thank you very much.
We're going to throw back quickly now to the reserve grade game, which has a few minutes left, and then we're going to hear from the chairman of the Howick Hornets, our host team today. So back in a few minutes.
Okay, we're just getting settled now. My name's Troy Hardy with the ARL, and alongside me is the chairman of the Howick Hornets. Mate, first off, no introduction needed. Bruce, you've been here involved with the club for some time and you're back. Tell us a wee bit about what happens up at the club tonight.
Oh, we're quite proud of our culture here. It's a club that after the game, the boys and the supporters that you'll see on the bank today, that they like to go up and have a couple of ales and talk footy. So yeah, it's a good old-fashioned club, I reckon.
And just in regards to some of the boys up on the hill, and we'll have a look at them during the today's game. Today's play is the Firm, and there goes the final hooter for the reserves match out there. The Firm, I know they back the club and they do a lot of work, so let's talk a little bit about that as I gaze up onto the hill there with their chairs with the back legs cut off. How involved are they with the club and what do they do for you?
So, in my dad's day, they used to call them the old boys, and I remember my dad, who was involved with Ellerslie Rugby League, and they had a very strong old boys following. So nowadays you can't just be called the old boys, so they branded themselves the Firm, but basically they're a bunch of old boys and they help out in all sorts of ways. They raise money for the club, and if you have a look at the club, it's been painted in the last couple of years, so they've jumped in and they've done that, and they're an awesome bunch of guys, and they're pretty vocal up there in the bank, and it's a pretty cool concept, I think.
Cool, mate. And look, and I know that you guys have worked very hard, and a special thank you to Denny for all the hard work he's helped us out today, being hosted down here for the live stream match. In regards to your sponsors, you've got some new sponsors on for this year, so let's talk a little bit about them and how important are they to the club?
Well, actually, a lot of them have been, a lot of our sponsors like Scott Electrical have been on for over 10 years. I mean, John jumped off last year. He's a wonderful guy, and he was expanding his business, which he's done, and it's worked out really well. So he's back on the front of the jersey this year, and we love him there. So
way to go, Scott Electrical.
Yep. PIC, Mike from PIC, he's been around a while. We've got BSR Concrete Brad, he's an old boy, used to play for the top side. Storage and distribution specialists, and McCamish Metals. These are all major sponsors for us. So we're blessed.
Yep.
And we thank them very much, because we couldn't do what we do without them.
Absolutely, and I think that goes for most of the clubs around here, and it's fantastic you have that sort of support. Talking a little bit now, and Corey sort of touched on it, with the interview with the coach Sean. You guys have started the season really well down here. We're 3 rounds in. What's the vibe like up at the club?
Yeah, I guess it's a little, when you've got a couple of wins under your belt, everyone's smiling around the club, and things are good. We see it at the Warriors, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, how good was that one?
Yeah, I got to say last night was, I was jumping off the couch, a number of times. Yeah, it was awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so the vibe's pretty good though in regards to the Howick Hornets down here, and the anticipation for today. How well do you think you're going to go?
Yeah, look, the boys are, working their way into the
Yep.
year, I think. I don't think they're playing their best footy yet, but, one thing I will say about the Hawks, since they've returned to Fox footy, they tend to be a little bogey side for us, so,
Okay.
I think the boys are going to have to be on their game to win today.
I tell you, a player who's really impressed me is Jethro Friend. I think he grew a couple of inches in his stature last season. I think that'll put you in good stead coming into the 2018 season. And in regards to a little bit around the live streaming, just wanted to touch, from the Auckland Rugby League's point of view, they've spent a lot of time and effort to get this sort of up and running. How important is it to you as a chairman, to your sponsors and to your fans having live stream?
Oh, look, this is hugely important for our game. It's prior to this we had the Maori TV and they're big days for the club, and we get to showcase who we are and I do thank the Auckland Rugby League for doing this live streaming, and it's a quality package.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, best of luck for the rest of your season. Thanks very much for hosting us down here today, and looking forward to catching up with you again in round 2. So thanks for being with us today on ARL TV.
Thanks, Troy.
We're going to throw back to the boys warming up out on the park, and then we'll get Corey the caller, Corey Rosser, joining us back in here play-by-play as we put the Rugby League match into your hands from the website www.aucklandleague.co.nz.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Corey Rosser joined by Troy Hardy today, bringing you the live stream from Paparoa Park. We can see in the shot there behind us the two teams warming up now for this round 3 match. We mentioned the Howick Hornets coming into it off a 2-game winning start to the season. Well, Mangere East picked up their first win last week. And Troy, I guess for Mangere East, a pretty gritty result. They outlasted Marist, didn't lead until the 75th minute, but got the job done in the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a tough struggle for both sides. I think, there was a big arm wrestle there. I think it went all there a couple of times during the play of the match, and really it came down to probably the last 6 minutes where the Hawks managed to, get across the line and, secure the win. I think probably at the end of the day, they deserved the win from my point of view. They were pretty fast around the ruck area. They didn't have as much size as what we saw at the Marist pack. And just on the Marist pack, it was great to catch up with Edwin Fissy-Tours, Dave's dad, being involved with the club down there, and I'm sure that they'll be smarting from that loss and looking to perform really well this week. But Howick Hornets get to carry in with the wee bit of the momentum coming in today's game, and they're certainly going to need it up against the Howick Hornets. What's your view on that, mate?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be a really interesting game. You obviously mentioned the battle in the full pack there, and, it's a new-look Howick team compared to what we saw last week, as we see the ladder come up there, and we will just quickly run you through. We touched on one result from last week. We'll just run you through quickly the other results. Mount Albert getting up 14-12 over Northcote. A real thriller there at Fouts Park, with goal kicking the key difference in the end for the Mount Albert Lions, who are 2 from 2 to start the year. Glenora, well, they bounced back from a round 1 defeat to Point Chevalier, 24-10 victors over Papakura. Howick, 22-14 winners over Otahu, had to come back from a half-time deficit though, so
Yeah.
the Leopards showing plenty to like in their first 2 games back in the first division. Richmond, well, they went down 26 points to 37. Point Chevalier winning that one and retaining the Konaka Minolta Root Rooster. And of course, in our live stream game last week, Mangere East 26, Marist Saints 20. So just having a look at your ladder now, And up top, it is the Mount Albert Lions. They join the Howick Hornets and Point Chevrolet Pirates as the only perfect teams after 2 weeks. They are followed by the Northcote Tigers, who were winners in round 1, Glenora, the Otahuhu Leopards as teams on 1 victory, and Mangere East, of course, getting their first points of the year last week. 3 teams at the bottom without a victory so far: the Richmond Bulldogs, the Mangere Saints, and the Papakura Seagulls at the bottom. So that is how your SAS Fox Memorial Premiership ladder looks. After 2 games, heading into round 3, we're now going to have a little talk about some of the games going on elsewhere in Auckland. And Troy, over at Birkenhead War Memorial, Northcote take on Glenora. That shapes as a good one.
Oh, mate, that would be one of the other games we'd love to have been at today. Northcote certainly impressed coming out of the back end of 2017. They took a little bit of time to get into it. And, you know, their boys, I think, grew in stature. We had a chat with the captain a couple of weeks back, and he was talking about how young his team was. Well, they'd been young for the last 7 years, to be fair, and I think they're starting to mature and come into their own. So they only just lost to Mount Albert last week. And I think, you know, they'll be smarting from that as well, and that'll be a tough game for Glenora. And we hear the 5-minute warning in the background here for today's main game. So
we've also got Richmond at home to Otahuhu. That one a real, potentially a real thriller, I think. Obviously, Otahuhu back in the Fox after a short stint down in the Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup. Maris take on Mount Albert in a bit of a central Auckland derby at Murray Halberg Park. And of course, our live stream game today, Howick versus Mangere East. But a big one, Troy, a rematch of the 2016 grand final. Papakura taking on Point Chevrolet. Now it's a very much a different looking Sea Eagles team. They're sitting at the bottom of the ladder, which will not sit well at Prince Edward Park. What are you expecting from that game?
Mate, I think it's going to be a tough season for the Papakura Sea Eagles. Point Chevrolet look completely different too, to be fair. You know, they've always, I think we sort of touched on this last week, was more of a lateral team, and they've certainly bolstered up their ranks and got a wee bit of big, a wee bit of size in their forward pack now, and certainly seem to be going a lot more direct. So I think Papakura Sea Eagles are going to have their hands full today, but I know there'll be a lot of strong support out there, and it'll be a great game to be viewing as well. And if you are out and about in the Auckland region, you know, look, get the family, go down to the local club and see some of these games. It's great entertainment. The tuck shops are open, and you know, get to see some fantastic football.
And just very quickly touching also on the start of our Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup today. Now we're going to see the new team, the Franklin Storm, in action against Manurewa. That's at the Colin Lowry Fields in Pukekohe. Ellerslie versus Bay Roskill, which shapes as a really interesting game. We know Ben Henry is on the books now at Bay Roskill. Whether or not he takes the field will be interesting, as well as Brent Webb for the Ellerslie Eagles. Papatoetoe are hosts to the Newland Stags. Manukau take on Pakuranga. Otara take on Ponsonby in what is a clash of last year's heavyweights. Of course, both teams semi-finalists last year. Waitemata take on the Mount Wellington Warriors, and the Hibiscus Coast Raiders are at home to the newly relegated Te Aratu Roosters, while the Northern Brothers have the bye. So plenty going on around the grounds, ladies and gentlemen. We will endeavour to bring you updates throughout the day of how games are going on across Auckland. But in the meantime, we are building up towards kickoff here at Paparoa Park, now just a couple of minutes away. We'll bring up our team list now and have a look at how the two sides will take the fields. And there will be a couple of changes from that advertised. A couple of late changes for the Howick Hornets as well. But at the back for the home side, the Scott Electrical Howick Hornets, it is Andre Singh. The wingers are George Edwards and Louis Tussa. The centres, Anthony Foimaono and Sialoni Liava. And in the halves, Jordan Papa joins the experienced Drew Radich. Speaking of experience, Jethro Friend and Tony Tuia head up the front row for the Hornets. They're joined by Troy Pulipaki, Nick Wilson, Johnny Vuitibao and Cruz Tupo in the back row. And on the bench for the Hornets, Jonah Tau, Taylor Polder, Connor Morris and Junior Pua. So that is how your Howick Hornets will take the field in this game. We now take a look at the visitors, the Burger King Mangere East Hawks, and at the back, Ed Wayne, Molly Silafai, Louis Lahingoa and Edward Kossi are your wings. In the centres, Talamoni Finau and Morgan Salisi. The halves, Howard Brown, the man of the match last week in the victory over Marist. He's joined by Inga Limoni. In the front row, Eddie Tiriari. Connor Brown is the hooker. Kalani Ili is the other front rower. In the back row, Nicholas Halalilo joins Jacob Tamua. And locking the scrum is Junior Afua. On the bench, a big in for the Mangere East Hawks, the co-captain, Natani V. He joins Chris Kalaota, Lewis Hiria Hariti, and Frank Fungalpole. So that is how the two teams will take the field today, ladies and gentlemen. You see on screen there our referees. The middle referee today is Simon Taylor, an experienced referee. Had the line for the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership Grand Final last year. And he is joined by Mina Normani and Corey Jewell as his linesman today. So the two teams about to make their way out onto the field. Pretty good conditions down here at Paparoa Park. A bit of a breeze around. We did have some rain earlier today, but things have cleared up nicely. And on the whole, good conditions for footy, I think, Troy.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And we've got a little bit of ref audio coming through, so just bear with us today as we get set to try and bring you as much value on our live stream as we can possible. As we're waiting for the teams now to come out of the changing room, and I think this is going to shape up to be a really good game today. And it'll be great being hosted down here at the Howick Hornets, the Hornets Nest, as we get ready for today's main action of the Howick Hornets up against the Mangere East Hawks.
And a big shout out to the club sponsors for the Howick Hornets. Scott Electrical, the main sponsor for the first team, silver sponsors, storage and distribution specialists, PIC Insurance Brokers, BCR Concrete, McNash Metals, and of course the firm up there on the hill. There they are, the boys.
Yes, all drinking green tea as they're getting a big shout out for you know, a very strong supporters group. These guys are you know, are down here week in and week out, and they, you know, spend not just their personal time but personal money in supporting the club. So big love to the firm and major supporters of the Howick Hornets. And speaking of the Howick Hornets, they're now starting to drift out onto the field, and you'll be able to see their First Division Premiership team in the SAS Fox being brought to you live on our live stream, courtesy of the ARL TV.
And a quick mention as well for the match day sponsors today down here at Paparoa Park. The firm, one of them, My Splash Splashback and Scaffold Connect. So a big shout out to you. Thank you for your support of local rugby league. Now as the teams come out, Jeff, for a friend there on camera, one of the real standout performers last year, one of the best domestic players in New Zealand. He's a class act in the middle of the park. Troy gets through a mountain of work in defence, but also got some really classy touches in attack.
Absolutely, and I think some of that's gifted from his DNA and his dad, who's a legend of the game, legend of Auckland Rugby League, as well as, you know, international Kiwi, Clayton friend, and have much love for that man. He's an awesome bloke and also a very talented footballer who has obviously played in the SAS Fox Memorial as well. So a big thank you to SAS Sports, Sporting Apparel, who sponsor the Fox Memorial. And just as I say that, out to our left, Corey, is the Burger King sponsored Mangere East Hawks coming onto the field now, and the captains will join Simon, our referee, and have the chat, as we call it, and shaking hands.
Just looking at last year's results between these two teams, they met in round one last year. There wasn't much love for Mangere East on that day. Howick 56-18 winners there, and a huge result for the Hornets that day. They met again in round 10, and once again Mangere East were up against it, 42-14. The Howick Hornets were the victors that day. Of course, Howick last year going all the way through to the major semi-final, where they just missed out on the grand final berth. Of course, Point Chevalier scoring a try late in the piece in that one to get the job done. Got through last year with 13 wins and just the 7 losses. For Mangere East, well, they narrowly avoided relegation with victory in the final round of the season against the Marist Saints. Only 4 wins for them last year with 14 losses. But already this year, plenty of reason to believe that the Mangere East Hawks have something to offer in this competition this year and can challenge plenty of teams. So we await kickoff now, and it will be the Howick Hornets with first use of the ball.
Big Tony Tuia down the back there, geeing the boys up. He's certainly got some vocal action happening as we get ready for the kickoff. This is going to be an absolute classic.
Go Brian, kick out, time to run. On you, Howard.
So away we go, ladies and gentlemen, off the whistle of referee Simon Taylor. And it is a bouncing ball which is taken, claimed by the Hornets, and straight into it we go, and it's Pulipaki.
Up now! Stand square! On the line with me! Oh, go. 1.
Nick Wilson, who was a real standout at the Sports Safe ARL 9s earlier this year, made the team of the tournament.
Oh, go. 2. Contact. Good.
Tony Tuia now taking forward, so good meters on the offering early on. You can see Jethro Friend there just trying to spark things up, get things moving. They've lost Trent Bishop, they've lost Reece Joyce, they lost Royden Gillett, so between them, plenty of games worth of experience, but they've still got really good experience core in this team. You look at George Edwards, who's been on the Fox scene for a long time now, played for the New Zealand Residents. He's out there on the wing. Jethro Friend at hooker, and Drew Radich, who has played plenty of local footy in Auckland as well. So still plenty of experience to lean on this Hornets team. Now as Mangere East get their first charge on the ball. They were slow starters last week against Marist. Didn't take long for the Saints to get into it, but the Hornets, well, they believed they were the fitter team. They were certainly the smaller team, and it proved to be true. Outlasting them, they scored late on. It was Inga Limoni who split the game open with 5 minutes to go, went through the line and scored the try that mattered in a 26-20 victory. We see there the first error of the game, and that has been a serious issue for this Mangere East team across the opening rounds. So the scrum now to pack down on the 40.
Let's go, chickens. Winding up, winding up.
A little bit of conversation going on there in the engine room. They shifted to the right edge.
One.
Great crowd starting to come in down here at the local grounds, Corey. There's a few on the hill, and there's a few seats left if you want to come and join us down here at Paparoa Park.
Carried forward there by Foimoano. Shift out towards this right edge. Wilson, the little tip on play. Tussa.
He's another player that's come on, Nick Wilson.
Absolutely, playing great footy. I believe played for Counties Manukau last year as well. Tuia at the line. Well tackled, finished off over the top by Howard Brown. They come out towards this left edge now. Here come the Hornets. First use of ball in good ball territory. Singh steps out of a couple. Heads back in field to Edwards. Hard to bring down, fends off a couple. Eventually ragdolled to the ground.
Good.
Kicking behind there from Papa. Ball has spelt loose. Foimano's picked it up. And a fortuitous bounce there for the Howick Hornets, but they will take it, and it is Anthony Foimano who opens the scoring here at Paparoa Park. Let's take a look on the SAS replay there to see what happened. It definitely took a deflection at some point. You see here, Jordan Papa puts boot to ball. And it's a tricky one at the back, and it's just not fielded by the Hawks. And then from there, Foimano says, I'll have that one, thank you very much. Runs it in under the post. So good start there for the Howick Hornets, Troy. A dream start in many ways.
Absolutely, and the coach will be certainly happy with that. You know, we're only a few minutes in, and they've got some points on the board, so they'll be certainly wrapped with that start. The ball being sort of mishandled in the feeling there and bobbled up, and the centre managed to be able to just walk straight onto that and score beneath the post. So not a bad way to start the day.
Yep.
And the kick is good, and it is the Howick Hornets 6, Mangere East Hawks 0. 4 minutes gone here, round 3 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. So again, Troy, second week in a row, slow start for the Mangere East Hawks. We saw them do it again last week against Marist. That'll be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, and I dare say that they would have had that discussion down on their try line. So let's see how they start now, and I suppose, you know, demonstrate a wee bit of patience. Great run on there by the young Hornets player. A lot of energy and chat happening inside the Hornets nest over there in the engine room.
Yeah, Puli Paki, a couple of big carries already in this game. The 19-year-old, a Mount Wellington Warriors junior. Of course, the Warriors just around the corner. Got a pretty good relationship, those two clubs. Friends hands off back into the middle of the park, and this is a good run here from Cruz Tupo. Tupo isolates Wilson. Good cover defence, though, R4 getting there.
Yeah, Mangere are a bit sloppy on their shape there on the defence line. They're still trying to get back into it.
Radich dummies. Radich puts the nose through. Radich, little step on at the end. Lovely try, Howick Hornets. And it is Drew Radich. Takes the bull by the horns there, steps his way through. And all of a sudden, the Howick Hornets are a chance of doubling their lead. straight off their last try, and it is the number 7. You can see here Radic gets the ball. They've got a split line. The mark is very slow to get back there for Mangere East, and then from there the one-handed carry. Radic says through I go, breaks the first one, and then just manages to stand up Molly Silafai at the end, and it's enough to get over for the try.
Nice work. Bit of body language for the Mangere East Hawks. You can see they slumped a little bit there, so the trainer's over now having a chat next to the SAS bolster, and I dare say they'll be wanting to get a wee bit more energy into their defence line for sure. Great day down here, Corey. The sun's come out.
Yeah, that's right. A bit of rain earlier, but it's turned into a nice one. A bit of a breeze around as Radic lines this kick up from just to the left of the post. Shouldn't be too much of a drama. And over it goes. Catches a bit of wind at the end and doubles the lead. So does the Howick Hornets 12, Mangere East Hawks 0. And a rough start here for the Southside club.
If you've just joined us, way over on the end of the halfway line there, you'll see a man sitting on a red top. He's the match manager for today. That's Mike Farrelly, and he's a club stalwart down here and also the major sponsor of the Women's Premiership for the ARL. Mike Farrelly photos, and he's a champion bloke as well.
Run, fellas. Fine kicker.
Hawks kick off.
Back underway now, and they need a good set here. Do Mangere East. It's a short kick-off.
Rooster, five up. Oh, go, 1. Good man. Hit him up there,
And
please.
again, you see there, Troy just Jethro Friend trying to up the tempo. They want to play at a fast pace.
Yeah, Matt, the coach for the Mangere East Hawks, touched on this at your pre-match interview where he said they're very, very quick around the ruck ball area. They want to play fast, and they're certainly demonstrating that today, mate.
Good man. Keep coming left side, keep coming left.
Out towards this right edge they come. Wilson,
Good man, five left.
Howard Hornets Junior, 26 years of age.
Go back.
Papa looks to the skies. Tricky one, which is brought in nicely, but great kick chase, George Edwards. And they bundle him into touch, so they're doing all the right things so far, are the Mangere East Hawks.
He did well to catch that under pressure. He was hearing the footsteps come trundling down that side.
And unfortunately, there wasn't much he could do there, really, was it? He caught it right up against the sideline there. As you mentioned, he did well to bring it in. And then from there, just a good kick chase from George Edwards, bundles him into touch. And all of a sudden, the Hornets are about to put a whole lot more pressure on. Radic feeds the scrum. Brings Leoval into the game. Wilson
Nice
now
cut.
runs a hard line. They get their numbers. Good defence, Mangere East. Connor Brown in there as well. It's very slow, play the ball. Friend goes to Tony Tuia. Tony says, get out of my way, I am over. And the big fella crosses for the try. Not going to stop him from close range there. And it was pretty simple in the end, wasn't it, Troy? Give it to big man run hard.
Yeah, dropped it on the inside. There was no stopping him from that distance out. And a few of the Mangere East boys tried to get in front of him, or at least under him. And here he comes now on the SAS slow motion replay. 1, 2, 3 hits and over. So that's what you want from the big boys. And Tony is an expert at doing that. Yep, very happy indeed. So it looks like another team chat down there for the Burger King Mangere East Hawks. And what do you think the trainer will be telling them this time, Corey?
Well, I dare say it'll be a fairly dire team chat right now because it has been a disastrous start for them. But I think it will just be complete some sets, boys. Let's get back into the game. We did it last week as Radic puts the kick over. And it is 18 points to 0. And they've beaten the scoreboard so far are the Hornets.
And one of the great things about grassroots footy is that conversion was pumped towards the post, went up over the fence and into the neighbour's house, and hopefully we get to see that Steeden ball back.
Shout out to Steeden, the official ball sponsor of the Auckland Rugby League.
Yeah, Jamie and his crew up there, they certainly look after the ARL, and it's the official ball not just for the SAS Fox, but also for the Crown Lift Trucks Shaman Cup.
So Brown gets us back underway. And straight back into it, Pulipaki carries it forward. First up contact by Salisi. Wilson.
Up and square.
He's sort of like the quiet achiever, isn't he, Nick Wilson?
He is, and look, he's a quality player. When we saw it at the Nines, we saw a different side of him, really, didn't we?
Yeah,
a bit more creativity out wide there, and he was really effective. So nice to see him get rewarded with rep selection recently as well. But you look at this Howick team, Troy, well, they squeaked past Richmond in round 1.
Big meters there from Tony Tuia.
And then had to do it pretty tough against the Leopards last week as well. So they've been in a couple of different situations already so far this year. As we see a short ball now played out towards the left edge. George Edwards is into space. George Edwards loops one back on the inside. Our cameraman's lost it. It's played so good they can't keep up. But in the end, Drew Radic has crossed for the Hawks. And it comes from a shift down towards the left edge there, and just good vision from George Edwards in the end. Loops the ball back inside, and Drew Radic grabs his second try of the game.
Well, we're just about doing point for point and minute on minute at this point. So we couldn't get any more points out there, Corey.
Lucky Point Chevalier aren't playing, perhaps. So Radic now to line up the kick. And the Hawks, they look a little dumbfounded at this stage. They need to find an answer very quickly because this score is about to get unmanageable very quickly here, so they need to find a solution. They need a couple of good defensive sets, build some confidence off the back of that.
Yeah, definitely need to start completing sets and build a wee bit of pressure. Really hard if you're going backwards.
Well, they haven't had the ball for the best part of probably 5 or 6 minutes, have they, Troy? And they conceded 3 tries in that time as Radic hits it, and it's another sweet one. And it is the Hornets 24, Mangere East Hawks 0. 13 minutes gone here at Paparoa Park.
Big thank you to Bruce Campbell and his team down here, the chairman of the Howick Horts, hosting us today. Really appreciate being here, and big thank you to all the volunteers as well.
And we got here early today, Troy, while the mini mod games were on. A really nice vibe down here at the club, but also really cool to see a number of guys involved with the first team and under-20s down helping out the kids as well. A really nice atmosphere down here, and really good to see all the Be A Sport bibs on display as well. Of course, junior footy officially getting underway this weekend after a false start last weekend due to the storm. As we see a penalty there, and that's not what they needed, the Hawks.
No, just going to make it so much harder. A real tough day in the office.
You can hear the call going out there, 1 minute of defence. Mangere East just urging each other.
Not a bad kick too, mate.
Let's hold out here, boys. So they're going to start this set right on halfway.
Go.
And back into it they go. Foima Ono coming in field, looking for a bit of work. Played a bit of footy with nearby East Auckland neighbours, Pakuranga.
I think you're going to see something magical here in a moment. Big Tony Tui is moving out to the back line.
Hands up. With me, 18. Go. 2.
So fresh legs onto the field in the shape of Polder as they come out towards this left edge.
Here we are.
Tails are up with the Hornets.
Friend dummies. Back to the middle of the park. They need to be careful here. The second phase is killing them, the Hawks. Pulipaki's going to go close. Salisi's got underneath him. Has he done enough to hold him up here? I think it's a very good tackle, certainly from the Mangere East centre, and he has held him up. So miraculous defence there in the end. For the Hawks, Pulipaki now to play the ball, 10 out. They're keen to get things going again. Radic goes to the line now at the back door, finds Singh. Howie Brown, good read in defence. They get there in numbers, 3-man tackle, looking to slow things down. Now the Hawks pushed right up against their line. Little dart out of dummy half there by Leava'a. And it's just too easy right now for the Hornets. Crashes over from close range. There's the old Solomoni Kata style run. Another dummy half. And gets over for another Hornets try. Let's take a look at the replay now. And as you can see here, all the pointing's going on inside. Looking back towards the centre of the park, you can see Mangere East, they're calling defenders across to the left. And in the end, that's exactly where they get them. Crashes over from close range. We're catching a bit of the camera equipment there in the corner. Do apologise for that. So too easy for the Hornets. What won't be easier, however, is the ensuing conversion. Rd3 pushed right up against the sideline here.
He's stroking the ball pretty well, and I think he would have had a wee bit of confidence off the last 3 kicks, so it'll be interesting to see how he plants this one. Got it packed right up on top of the tee there. Big shout out to the ball boys too, don't they love this?
Rd3 off the boot, and he's got it. So beautiful kick there from Rd3, and everything that could go right is going right so far for the home side today here in round 3. And what a blistering start, Troy. Not even 17 minutes gone, and Howick is sitting on a 30-0 lead.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a big injection from the Hawks now in regards to you know, showing some passion and desire on the D.
And this is hard, Troy. They're a very young team. You know, a lot of them are new to playing with each other. It's really hard to get out of these situations when you're young and perhaps there's not that many experienced heads to lean on. So another fairly short kickoff here.
They're just going to slow the momentum down and slow down that ruck play because, you know, Howick Hornets are all over it, and Jethro Friend certainly, you know, conducting the concert today.
Credit to the enthusiasm of the ball runners, and again, another penalty.
Just can't afford to be doing that. So an opportunity now for the...
And actually that's gone against the Hornets there, so I think we've got obviously a decoy penalty there. So is that what Mangere East needed? Oh, they failed to find touch, just as we asked the question of if that is going to give them a bit of a reprieve. And Howard Brown fails to find touch, so nothing going right for the poor old Hawks so far. Friend now hands it off. Wilson comes infield looking for a bit of work. Good contact down low by the Hawks. Tony Tuia breaks the initial tackle, usually does. Friend darts out a dummy half now. More fresh legs onto the field in the shape of Junior Poor. Rd3 shuffles play on out towards this left edge now. Vuiti Bau, 40 metres out from the line. Nice little kick over the top there, and dead it goes. So just a little bit too much on it. So now desperately need to complete this set here. Do Mangere East. Into it we go. And this really is their first meaningful possession in well over 10 minutes, Troy. It's been an incredible period of the game for the Howick Hornets. They've found 4 tries in that period.
I don't know if we've witnessed a complete set of 6 yet for Mangere East.
Illy,
Great
big
run.
carry forward there from the former South Sydney Rabbitoh.
Let's hope they get some confidence off that great strong carry.
Brown now a clever little dart out of dummy half, so this is a bit more like it now. Looks like Illy's lining up for another carry. They're going to miss him out. They'll go to Brown. Brown spins it on to Limoni. Limoni out towards the left edge. Alalilo taken well. Out towards the left edge they go. Brown takes it to the line, gets the kick through. The chase is good from Mangere East. Singh cleans up nicely, and they get there in numbers. So good set there from the Hawks. It's exactly what they needed. Just complete the set and start playing football at the right end of the field.
Great to see a wee bit more urgency. He must have been very close to this touchline, sideline over there.
Go 2. Yeah, one marker.
Friend out of dummy half there, just testing those markers, and he catches them inside the 10. So clever work there from the Hornets skipper. Knew they weren't back, and now Papa will kick for touch.
Not a bad kick either.
And it's just a relentless surge here from the Hornets. They just keep coming at them.
Keep coming, eliminate.
George Edwards in the back here, screaming out instructions, keeping the vibe alive for the Howick Hornets.
He's not a bad player to have on the wing, is he? Of course, a Fox winner with Papakura a few years ago. And a very experienced domestic player, so real calming influence to have on the wing. He's also a very gifted footballer, obviously. More accustomed to seeing him usually at fullback. Now, as you see, a little backdoor play, which has gone wrong. They've cleaned it up there. Leava'a scoops it up, and he's on the charge. Boy, they've got some size in the centres, do the Hornets.
Here we are.
Mangere East battling to get back. Friend, dummies left, goes right. Death row Friend just about puts the nose through. Watch out for the big fellas here. Slow play the ball. They want the penalty. Nothing forthcoming. Papa goes to the line. Papa finds Wilson. Lovely bit of play there. But it's going to be called back for a forward pass. So creative stuff from Howick. But on that occasion there, the execution just a little bit off. Credit to Mangere East, who held strong on their line. And they're going to get another elusive use of the ball.
Might be picking a little bit of audio up there from the referee having the chat there in the engine room. And this is a great time for the big fellas because you know what happens here, don't you, Corey? It's like they're in a circle with the Warriors having a big breathing session.
Well, there won't be much breathing going on. What there will be going on is Tony time, because we know Tony Tuia does love a chat at a scrum. We can see there he just about could not wait to get packed down. Back into it we go now. Howie Brown, our man of the match last week. Boy, he was good last week, wasn't he, Howard Brown, Troy?
Yeah.
Really, when that game was hanging on the balance, he took it by the scruff of the neck. Now the Hornets, and they will get a penalty there, so a kick for touch, a chance to have a bit of a breather. Boy, they have done some defence so far in this game. Brown kicks for touch. And the set will start right on halfway for the visitors. Connor Brown taps, and back into it we go. Tamua, another of the real standouts for Mangere East last week. Offloads to Illy. Great carry forward there by Kalani Illy. Limoni shuffles on now. Tamua, a bit of footwork at the line now. Jacob Tamua returns to Mangere East after a stint over in Australia. I think may have had a deal lined up with the Highlanders in rugby union as well, but chose to come home to Mangere East and earns his team the penalty there. So here we go. Are they starting to turn things around here, the Hawks? This is a positive few minutes for the visitors. Connor Brown wants to get things going. Let's attack these guys, he says. Tiriati.
Yeah, it's be the first time they're down on the 10.
Brown to Limoni. Limoni, a bit of footwork at the line, hands it off to Halalilo. Mangere East Junior spent some time with the Bankstown Bulls in Australia. Back towards the middle of the park they come. Afua to Brown. Brown looks to straighten things up, takes it to the line. Takes a couple of defenders with him as well. Finau darts out a dummy half now. Going to go very close here. I think he has. He's got there. So an inspired carry there from Talamoni Finau. Gets into dummy half. Let's take a look on the SAS replay there because it was a heads-up play. You can see it starts with Howie Brown here. They were going sideways a bit, straighten things up nicely, and then from there...
Didn't look like there was a call on either. He just sort of pinned his ears back and said, right, this is me, we're in.
It's good work from Howie Brown, really fighting for that quick play of the ball. And then from there, Finau darts out. And he just catches them, not quite numbered up, gets there. Maybe a hint of double movement there on the replay. Of course, the referee doesn't have the luxury of seeing things in reverse as we do, but I think that one's certainly all good, and it is a try.
That'll bring the boys a wee bit of confidence as they're walking back to the halfway, waiting for the conversion kick to take place. They can just hear a wee bit of the conversation out here now, and that will be around having a little bit of belief. You know, that was the first time they were down inside the 20, down inside the 10, and they've come away with a few points, Corey, so I think that'll put them in good stead, mate.
So Howie Brown to attempt the conversion. You can see there with the flags and the trees behind us there, Troy, a bit of a breeze around today. Shouldn't trouble him too much on this one.
Good to see the firm there waving away in the big flag. Great support, great merchandising there, Howick Hornets.
And Brown puts it over, so Mangere East on the board. It is the Scott Electrical Howick Hornets 30, the Burger King Mangere East Hawks 6. 25 minutes gone here in round 3 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. And well, that was a timely strike for the Mangere East Hawks. Credit to them, nothing going their way in this game, but they found a way there. Got some back-to-back uses of the ball. And got themselves over the line. So Papa to get us back underway. Tiriari met well up top by Nick Wilson. That's a good tackle, joined by Fuimaono. All of a sudden, a bit of a spring in the step here for the Hawks. Battling for that play of the ball. They'd love another penalty.
So they're just resetting it.
Tamua. Good line speed from this Howick Hornets team. Right now being asked to do their first real prolonged period of defence. Last few sets have been all Mangere East. Now it's Limoni. Thinks a little kick in over the top, but I'm not sure that was the option there. You want to probably play for field positioning there.
Bad catch, I was meant to say. A little bit of moisture coming in on the commentary box, hitting our cameras up there.
And the wind really starting to pick up now as well down here at Paparoa Park. Pua carries forward off the bench. He's joined on the bench today by Connor Morris, who is the brother of Anthony Gelling. Of course, we saw Anthony get his first NRL try last night. It was a beautiful moment, actually. He's waited a long time for that one, has Anthony, and that spectacular win for the Warriors over the St. George Illawarra Dragons. In the meantime, back we go. George Edwards darts down that sideline there. Nice work. Tamua trying to slow the play of the ball down. Back to the middle we come. Pass is a bad one. Tuia picks it up. Papa looks to the skies. A tester here for Mangere East at the back. Fielded nicely. I think that's fielded in goal. Ball has come loose here. They're going to get out of it, are the Hawks. Another offload. Boy, they need to calm things down here. And there's going to be a knock-on at the end of it. So at the end of all that, we're going to pack down a scrum here, and that wind is really starting to pick up here now. You can see a few people running for cover as well as the rain comes in. So it's going to be a Mangere East feed at the end of all that. Referee Taylor finding a knock on there, I believe. Now Limoni now is going to dart down the short side. Needs to stay away from the sideline. Nice work there from the little number 7.
Another great dart from dummy half.
Yeah, Lauhingoa coming in and helping out. But good defence, Howick Hornets getting there in numbers, driving them back. Tiriari there with another good carry. Brown now senses a bit of a staggered line, makes some good yardage out of there, so they're on the 40. Playing some good footy now with ball in hand are the Hawks. Limoni. Bit of footwork there from Howard Brown to avoid rampaging Tony Tuia, who I don't think was too happy about the missed tackle. Radich cleans it up at the back, but another good set there for Mangere East. They need to look out though, because all of a sudden the Hornets keen to get straight back into it, and an error there spills out wide. And that is the new man on the field, I believe, Connor Morris, wearing the number 18. Spills the ball out wide. We saw Connor in action at the SportSafe ARL 9s as the Howick Hornets went all the way to the plate title there. So they've got some good young players coming through at the club as well. And time off, I believe, as we prepare to pack down the scrum. Tony Tuia Almost looked like he was about to back down in the back row for the Hawks.
I'm probably just checking there was no Burger King burgers around the back there. Is that good?
So an interesting one here, Troy. We've seen a bit of a resurgence from the Hawks over the last few minutes. They look good when they get the ball in their hand, but they just haven't had enough of it so far.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things for them will be maintaining their sets of 6. When they've done that, they've got down inside the Howick Hornets territory, and the last set that they had, they managed to get a try out of it. So here they come again. Ooh.
Moyle gets the offload away out the back. Howie Brown waiting for it.
Yeah. Probably didn't want to run into the biggest man on the park, but plays the ball well. Look for the quick play the ball.
And it looks like we're going to get a penalty at the end of that one. Tuia just spinning a little bit too long in the tackle. Lamoni kicks for touch. So the Hawks, what can they do with it? Well, we've only seen them in action down this end once, I believe, and they came away with points.
And if you've just joined us on the live stream with www.aucklandleague.co.nz, you can see there's a little bit of rain coming in on us at the moment. And as we switch between cameras, they'll endeavour to tidy up our lenses.
Brown is going to go very close to getting dragged out here, and he is going to get taken out. Great defence from the Howick Hornets. And really, well, he started a long way infield. Wasn't much he could do about it there, Connor Brown. But they got there in a 3 or 4 man tackle and dragged him out. So a wasted possession there for the Hawks. Another scrum to pack down.
For them, though, I think they'll be happy that it's in this end of the field.
That's right. Finally starting to win the field position battle a little bit, and finally starting to make the Hornets do a little bit of defensive work as well. Singh at first receiver has been good over the opening 2 rounds, picking up plenty of player of the day points along the way. Friend now jumps out of dummy half. Ragdolled though by Louis Lahangoa. And just a little bit too long in there, and they're happy with that one. Other Hornets, but just worked him over a little bit too much there, did Lahangoa.
One of the key comments you made, Corey, is we got ready for the kickoff was the Mangere East Hawks just seemed to take a little bit of time to get into the game, eh? And, you can't afford to give away a 30-point start against a team like the Howick Hornets and expect to come back. It just makes it really, really tough. But, they're making a fair shake of it.
That's right. And I think part of that probably comes back to just how young their squad is as well. Maybe it just takes them a little longer to get going right now, but certainly, they can score points. They look really positive on the ball, and boy, they've got some attacking weapons in this team. So, I'm not ruling them out in terms of a comeback yet, because they certainly look like they can pile them on when they do get some sustained periods of possession.
Nice
but
ball.
Tuia now plays Radich into a hole. And Drew had eyes for the hat-trick there. He's going to get a quick play of the ball. They head out towards the left here. No, they're going to go back towards the middle of the park. There's a crash over. And it's going to be held up. Good scramble defence, Mangere East. But Tony Tuia playing at
Great
the line,
offload,
put
yeah.
Radich into a little hole there. Papa. Wilson. Singh drops it, and look out. And Lamoni. Lamoni's now into a little bit of broken space. Good cover defence, though, from Howick. It's still alive here for Mangere East. The dummy, Halalilo, takes them up over halfway. They want a quick play of the ball. Battles well for it. Limoni to Afoa. Afoa carries it 15.
Just need to get a little bit of shape, get some conversation going. Here comes the runners out wide.
Tamua, footwork at the line. Watch for his offload. Taken down nicely there, finished off over the top by Tuia, who milks every last second he can out of that tackle. Brown, Limoni, footwork at the line. Limoni dances his way through a couple. Look out, the little fella's through. He's looking for a friend. Offloads the ball, and it's going to be a Howie Brown knock-on at the end of all that. So positive stuff there from Mangere East. Boy, they were lifting the tempo there. And it all came off the back of the little number 7, Inga Lemoni, sparking things up there.
I'm just having a chuckle to myself, thinking as Tony was playing in support play, whether he was actually saying, yeah, I'm here, mate, give me the ball, give me the ball, I'm right with you.
So scrum to pack down. About 5 minutes remaining in the first half here at Paparoa Park. George Edwards comes in looking for a bit of work.
Absolutely, yep.
Molly Fight involved in the tackle. Vuiti Bell, builder by trade, spent some time with the Sunshine Coast Falcons and also in the New Zealand Warriors system with the Intrust Super Premiership team. Friend now jumps out of dummy half there, sees there's no marker and says, I'll take those 10 metres, thank you very much. Battles for the quick play of the ball there. He's going to get the penalty as well. Jonah Towell in at dummy half. But that's just clever play there from Mr. Friend.
He knows when to pick and choose, doesn't he?
Papa, good kick for touch. They're going to start this one inside the attacking 20. Wilson.
Good hit.
Afoa, who played big minutes last week in the middle of the park for the Hawks.
Your son in the build-up too with the interviews with the coach. Tony Tuia played 70 minutes last week, Corey?
Yeah, and particular praise from Coach Sean Clark for his bench as well. And obviously Cruz Tupou on the job he's doing in the middle. So they're getting some results in the middle of the park are the Hornets as Radic takes it to the line, taking in a two-man tackle. Fresh legs on the park for Mangere East in the shape of Chris Kalaota. Tuia now darts out of dummy half, finds Andre Singh. Singh beats the first one now, a little bit of footwork, hook out. Spreads the ball on. Good scramble defence there from Mangere East. They get there in numbers. Howie Brown involved underneath. Edwards. Back towards the middle of the park. Jonah Tull. Friend jumps out, and that's too easy. Finds Johnny Vuiti Bell, who crashes over there for another Howick Hornets try. And in the end, Mangere East, well, they actually scrambled really well, but just got found wanting when it mattered. See here, Tal went close. And then they're just not numbered up properly again. And from there, well, Friend and Vuiti Bell, well, they're too smart. They know exactly how to execute in that situation, and they crash over to extend the lead out to 34-6. Kick to come off the boot of Radic, who has been perfect so far on the conversions.
Yeah, he's striking the ball well today. And a lot of action kicking off around the Auckland region today. The Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup is in play today as well, Corey. And you touched on that in the preamble.
As we see another beautiful kick from Radic, which makes it 36 points to 6. The 30-point lead is restored for the Howick Hornets. But yeah, Troy, you mentioned the second division kicking off today. The Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup happening all over Auckland, and also the Farrelly Photos Women's Premiership, which gets underway tomorrow. Those teams will be graded at first before splitting into a top 4 and a bottom tier. So really looking forward to that. A few new teams in that competition as well, in the shape of the Ponsonby Ponies and the Mount Albert Lions.
June 2. We're going to be talking about June 2 over the next few weeks. There's something massive kicking off on June the 2nd.
That's right, Auckland versus Tonga. It's going to be a blockbuster at Mount Smart Stadium. Keep an eye on aucklandleague.co.nz. Tickets to go on sale next week. And I dare say a few of the men on field today likely to feature between those two teams. So into the dying minutes of this first half here at Paparoa Park, and it is one-way traffic so far. The Howick Hornets looking very classy in everything they've done so far. Papa brings Wilson in. Been contained pretty well so far today. Backslammed there. He's in a bit of pain, is Nick. Friend jumps out of dummy half, finds Papa. They link up. They're going to go out to this right edge here. Connor Morris. Still going. Great carry there from the young fella, and he's going to get a penalty at the end of it as well. So that is great work there from Morris. Jumped down that right edge. And they get the penalty at the end of it. Friend says, we'll tap and go. Thank you very much. Get things back underway. Wilson tackled nicely down low there by Brown. Morris again.
Looks like there's going to be a bit of a move on here, out here on the left-hand side.
Last play is the call from the sideline. Radic takes it to the line, brings Singh into it. Singh beats the first one. They've got the numbers advantage out here on the left. If they can get it there, they head back in field via Leava'a. Numbers come from everywhere from Mangere East. It's not going to matter, the big fella. That is a hell of a rampaging carry. And he's going to go all the way. Sialoni Leava'a crashes over for his second try of the day. And I think just about every member of this Mangere East team got a hand on him at some stage in that carry, but he just kept going. A destructive carry. You can see it all starts here with Andre Singh shaking off a couple, gets the footwork at the line. The temptation was to go left, but instead they turn it inside, and then from there, the big fella says, give me the ball. I know what to do here. Breaks one, breaks two, breaks a third, fourth, fifth. Goes all the way. Lovely try, Howick Hornets, right on half-time as well. As the siren goes in the background. So, kick to come from in front. It will be the last play of the game before we go into half-time. Now we're going to hear a little bit from some of the captains from both the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership, Crown Lift Trucks Sharman Cup, and the Farrelly Photos Women's Premiership at half-time. A bit of the lighter side of the game, I guess, Troy. And we're going to be talking to them. We caught up with them all pre-season, so we will now take a 10-minute break. Don't go too far, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourselves a drink. Tune in for the captain's chat at half-time. We will be back with the second half of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. The Howick Hornets with a handsome lead over the Mangere East Hawks.
Live league action. In 2018, the Auckland Rugby League is putting the game in your hands. Never miss a hit from New Zealand's premier rugby league competition. Run it straight to the breakfast team Fridays from 8:20 a.m. when they tackle the toughest competition in town. To get the inside edge on where you can watch the action live and free, head up aucklandleague.co.nz. Live league action. aucklandleague.co.nz.
My name is Alamoti Fina from the Mangere East Rugby League Club. There's a lot of them because a lot of them have whack hairstyles. Some of them, they have that man butt. Yeah, always fiddling around with it before we even get ready for the game. So there's a few.
So which of your teammates has the worst hairstyle?
Ano, there's Sangele. Yeah, there's a two of them.
Hi, my name is Savannah. You will see me press out. I'm from the Te Roosters women's team. Teammates has the worst hair. Oh, that's a hard one because most of us we just dress up like natural. So maybe everyone in the whole team.
Phil Kingy, General Reviews. Which of my teammates has the worst hairstyle? Probably Kipu Suli, who was our winger. He's got a nice long racked tail and a really high top at the top.
Aaron Otai, Pontaby Ponies.
Which of your teammates has the worst hairstyle?
Nathaniel Pito.
My name is Danielle Paina and I play for Pontaby Ponies.
Pass.
Yeah.
Hello, my name's Conal Badman. I play for the Te Roosters.
Teammates has the worst hairstyle.
They're all pretty much hairstyles in our team, so probably myself going forward.
Hi, my name is Jerome Spegel and I'm from Bay Russell. Worst hairstyle on my team? Ooh, Justice Liasibi. And his dad cuts his hair.
My name is Atanasu Puyo.
play for Rd3 Rugby League.
So which of your teammates has the worst hairstyle?
Dio Bukiro.
Hey, my name is Adam Davies. I'm from East Coast Bays. Sorry. Worst hairstyle. I'll just say Luke, my brother as well, because he's got gold hair at the moment. Yeah.
My name's Jamal Hunt from Popcorn Seals. I would have to go with Woodamoo. Plays in our half, so it gets in the way sometimes. He gets some pretty off passes, so yeah, Woodamoo.
Soali Makawi from Point Chevrolet. Worst hairstyle, Francis Ledger.
Oh, sorry. My name is Blake James and I play for Hibiscus Coast. Worst hairstyle on our team? Well, again, can't answer that. I'll go with Louis, our captain.
Hey, my name is Michael Young. I play for the East Family Wellington Warriors. That'll be Lex Ennis.
Hi, my name is Kennedy Akoyamo and I play for the Richmond Bulldogs. Oh, the worst hairstyle on our team would have to go to Machu Stoneda. He struggles a bit with that side of things, but yeah, I'm trying to give him a bit of a hand every now and then.
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Memo and I'm from Guatemala Seagulls. Shalom.
Eloquent Stein, Peppertoy Panthers.
Says the worst hairstyle?
Probably me, I'm not gonna lie. I need to get a haircut. My mum keeps telling me, but I don't listen.
Hi, my name is Jason Zhou and I play for the Franklin Storm. The worst hairstyle on our team would be, sorry, Tui. Yeah.
My name is Babila Fukumola and I play for the Tahu Leopards. Would be Savannah Tafaulevi.
I play for New Zealand Saints. My name is Junior Rand, 19 years of age.
Worst hairstyle on the team?
Local day. They're Babas and they shape up.
My name is Justice Irene from Manila Marlins. Team has the most all of them. They all got bad hairstyles.
Matt Luisi, Watermelon Seagulls.
Worst hairstyle.
Probably our Waterboy. He's got like a bowl cut.
Royden Gillett, Mount Albert Lions.
Probably Seller. Oh, sorry. Worst hairstyle would be Seller.
Taylor Daniels, North Cape Tigers. Worst hairstyle on our team. No, I don't know. I don't really look out for it.
Netanya V for Mangere East. All the boys are pretty good looking. Yeah.
Welcome back with Corey. And mate, I understand you've got some Crown Lift Truck Shaman Cup updates.
Yeah, we do. Round one of the competition kicking off today, and we can tell you that the newcomers, the Franklin Storm, have a 12-0 lead at the break over the